Hi. Alright, so we're going to do our very first recovery check-in. So it's 4 minutes after noon. My bad. But we're going to give people just like a couple minutes or so or 30 seconds to kind of join us to see if we want to be a part of this Facebook Live experience. So while we're waiting for people, I just want to let you know, so like, again, this week all the focus programming is canceled. However, we're going to do these recovery check-ins. We're going to also offer that if you need some support, you're welcome to call us, email us, message our Facebook page, and we will be there for you to support you through kind of just all this stuff going on, because things, like I said, are changing every day. If you haven't heard, the primaries here in Ohio have been postponed. So if you're staying home and staying safe, staying healthy, don't worry about getting out to vote. As information comes out, we'll be sure to let you know, but we're kind of keeping tabs on all that for you. So today, it's like every kind of recovery check-in, kind of what we'll be doing is just kind of like looking at a different recovery topic. One that is or pertains to kind of our current situation and what's going on. But also, if you're watching this later, or at any time throughout the day, you're like, hey, like, focus, could you talk about whatever? Let us know what you're struggling with, let us know what's on your mind, and we will absolutely address those questions, those concerns, those topics, because we want this to be of support to you as much as it's going to be of a support for us to be able to connect with you guys, because, well, I'll be honest, we miss you all. But we're going to do what we can to stay connected. And I was kind of thinking, I was like, what do we need? What should be today's topic? There's just tons going on. Stress is really high. Anxiety is really high. Uncertainty is really high. And so one of the things that I was talking about or thinking about was the idea of perspective. In challenging times like this, and I'll be honest, in challenging times in my life overall, one of the things I've always tried to do is to keep perspective. It's not always easy, because sometimes you're standing over here and it looks like, oh, things are kind of sunny, but then you kind of move over here and you're like, oh, it doesn't look so great over there. So you're trying to find like that balance, trying to find that center, trying to find what works for you. So I kind of have 4 things that help me keep perspective. And the very first one is boundaries. Good boundaries for myself, good boundaries with other people, boundaries with the world. One of my most recent ones actually is boundaries with media. I found myself this year like spending way too much time on social media and way too much time looking at the news, and it was skewing my perception and my perspective of what was really happening, and I was not seeing the good anymore. And so I put some different boundaries in place for myself, and I've actually found that to be really, really helpful right now, because there's tons of information out there. Not all information is good. Not all information is coming from a reputable source. So having those boundaries of taking a break from the news. So every single day I have a set time during the day where, 8, 9 o'clock hits and I'm done. Like, the phone goes down, the TV goes off. I just unwind. I just kind of chill. Because there is such a thing as too much information as well. And it can be a lot to sift through, and I don't know about y'all, but like, it can get my anxiety up. So I set some good boundaries, and I purposefully take a break from the news. I purposefully take a break from whatever. I was talking to even one of my coworkers. I was talking to Larry yesterday. He was holding the camera. About like taking a break, going, I don't know, watching funny cat videos. Just something else to get your mind on something different to make you laugh. So boundaries is one way that I help myself keep perspective. The next way is kind of like looking at what's in my control. A lot of times in recovery, we think about what we have control over and what we don't. And this definitely holds true today. There are certain things that I have control over. You know, I have control over myself. I have control over my responses to situations. I have control over my thoughts. I have control over what I do in response to everything else. I don't have control over what color the trees are, because if I did, they'd all be purple. I don't have control over, you know, what everybody does. I don't have control over the media. I don't have control over anybody else's health but mine. So with that, I don't know about y'all, but like I kind of stress eat sometimes. So knowing that my health and my reactions and my responses are in my control, I have options and choices. And all of those options and choices have consequences, and good, bad, or indifferent. You know, so when I'm stressed, I consciously make the choice to eat healthy, to get enough sleep, to make sure that I'm taking care of what I need to take care of, you know, that I'm showering every day, that I'm brushing my teeth, that I'm still getting up and doing all the routines that I know are healthy for me, because those are within my control. Regardless of anything else, those are in my control. So perspective. So talk about boundaries, talk about control, looking at what you do and you do not have control over, and focusing on what you do, what you can control, what you can, how you can respond versus react. And then the last two are gratitude and joy. Help me keep perspective. Sometimes, you know, I get into a crappy frame of mind, or somebody gets into a crappy frame of mind, and you lose sight of the good. You lose sight of everything in life to be grateful for. You know, so especially, you know, I'll say, especially in this last week, you know, I purposefully try to make a gratitude list every day, because it helps me to remember all of the good things in life. Like, even in all these challenging situations, like, good things are happening. People are having conversations about health and healthcare. People are having conversations about hunger and schools, and people are talking to each other, which I think is an awesome and wonderful thing, because people in recovery, we know, like, connection works. Talking to one another like that as human beings coming together is a cool thing. You know, so think about those gratitude moments. Looking at the good, purposefully looking at the good. You know, the human brain, whether we like it or not, is kind of hardwired to remember bad stuff. You know, because it goes back to, you know, when there were saber-toothed tigers, your brain wanted you to remember that the last time you went to that cave, the saber-toothed tiger was chasing you. We don't live in saber-toothed tiger times anymore, but our brain still tends to function like that. So it can more easily remember those negative experiences. So we have to purposefully and intentfully and mindfully bring it the good stuff, especially when we're challenged, especially when we're stressed. So, you know, if you want to, as you're watching this, like, let us know, like what are you grateful for today? What are you grateful for in your life? You know, some of the stuff that I'm grateful for is, one, that I have a car. I have the ability to drive here. You know, I have the wonderful support of my family. You know, I have a wonderful baby girl who is amazing. So if you've talked to me, you've probably seen pictures of, you know, and even just grateful for my capacity to grow houseplants. I love growing houseplants. It's a silly thing, but whatever. I'm grateful for that. Not everybody has that skill. You know, I know some people, they touch a houseplant and it kind of dies, you know, but it's the little things to be grateful for, little and big. And then the last thing that helps me keep perspective is joy. Finding joy in the moment. You know, whether that is talking to one of my friends and laughing over something ridiculous, whether it is, you know, walking outside and just experiencing just the absolute joy of nature, of being in the fresh air, being in the cloudiness that it is today, you know, or sunshine. finding those little moments of joy and like grabbing onto it and being fully present in that moment. You know, like one of my moments of joy today, like I'll be honest, was, you know, when my daughter got up this morning, she wanted to read a book first thing. And so she was sitting in my lap with her book, and I was just watching her just flip these pages. And she's a year and a half old. She can't actually read yet, you know, but she's pointing at this picture of a bear, and she keeps trying to say bear. And I just love like her ability to just try to latch on and to try to learn. Like, that's amazing. Like, it brings her so much joy. It brings me so much joy. So like, I just remember just like I sat in that moment with her and found that joy to start my day, and that's gonna fuel me for a while. So perspective in challenging times. 4 things to think about: boundaries, including taking a break from media, taking a break from the news, looking at what you have control over and what you don't. You know, focusing on your responses, focusing on your life, focusing on your health. Taking personal responsibility for that. Being grateful, having that gratitude. You know, gratitude, absolute cornerstone of recovery. Being grateful for yourself, being grateful for even our opportunities to connect virtually, even though if we can't, you know, be here in person, I can't give you a hug, we can connect in some way, shape, or form. And, you know, that wouldn't have been possible 20 years ago. And then finding joy in the little moments and the big moments, doing something that brings you joy. I'm a big fan of swing on swing sets, brings me joy, but finding those joys in that moment to help you keep that perspective, you know, knowing that we can be resilient, we are resilient, and we are going to get through this together, like as a community, whether that community is happening in person or digitally. You know, this is showing us how we get to use technology as a tool to connect, to stay connected, rather than as a tool to drive us further apart. We have that opportunity in front of us, and I think we should, you know, make really good use of that. So, kind of, I guess, in closing, I just want you to remember, like, stay connected. Check in with somebody. Check in with your friends. Like I said, you're welcome to call us here at Focus. Our phone number is 419-423-5071. You can email us at focus, so FOCUS, at focusrwc.org. And you can also message our Facebook page and we'll respond. We are here for you. We are here to support you. Support you in your life, in your recovery, in your dreams, and your aspirations. Like I said, we're a resilient bunch. We're a resilient bunch of people. We're going to get through this together. So keep good perspective, stay connected, let us know what you need, and we'll see you tomorrow at noon with something new. So, all right, so have a great rest of your day, guys.